I've gone and sprained my ankle. So today I'm back in my trusty armchair and I'm sitting like some kind of convalescing Victorian woman in my dress and my foot up on a footstool, resting it. Welcome to the Feminine Duality, a podcast for midlife women where we heal from burnout and we learn how to take charge of our crazy time again. On Sunday, my partner took us out. It was him and his daughter, me and Alice, my youngest. My oldest daughter, Elin, is still at her dad's recovering from her recent hip surgery, so we, four of us who were mobile, were out and about. And you know, I've taken this thing to heart, this epiphany that I had in the last episode of making sure that I give myself some more leisure time and making sure that I have a bit of fun in my life. And so I wanted to have fun. I wanted to make some nice family memories and have a laugh with the most important people in my life. We went to one of these soft play kind of places, you know, trampolines, bouncy castles, lots of germs, one of those horrible places that we parent take our kids to because they just have more energy than any adult human needs in one day. Okay? But we went and I was adamant that I was going to have fun. I went on the trampolines and the parkour run and the slides, and I even laced on a pair of roller skates for the first time in 40 years. You can see where this story is going, right? No, you can't. Because I did not injure myself on Sunday. I walked out of there high on endorphins with a big smile on my face and not a single ache in my body anywhere. Like, I had a great time. I did not hurt myself on Sunday. On Monday, I stood up from the chair in which I was sitting and my foot just gave way underneath me. I swear there's some bastard with a clipboard somewhere out in the universe going, we seem to have an undelivered sprained ankle for Tova. Dave? Huh? Wasn't Tova supposed to receive a sprained ankle yesterday? Yeah, says here she was, yeah. Delivery bounced? Oh, well, book her in for a redelivery for her today instead. Alright, will do. You can't make this shit up. Clearly, a 49-year-old woman is not supposed to attempt an activity that she wasn't even good at when she was 9. Alright, those roller skates, I knew it when I did it that it was a bad idea and I did not hurt myself. I may have held on to the side of the roller skating rink like this and gone, I might need to take these off. But I didn't hurt myself. But I was supposed to have. And so the universe decided to deliver my sprained ankle the next day. And this got me thinking about this idea that if I can only control my life better, I will feel less overwhelmed. Because I don't think we can. We can't control things. And I think we also have this tendency to believe in a fantasy that interruptions are rare. When you look at productivity advice online, it's all about your to-do lists, about time blocking and getting as much done in this hour as you can and as much done in that hour as you can, as though nothing will happen to derail us from that. But the truth is that interruptions happen all the time. Most of them are fairly minor interruptions, but they can be really quite frustrating when you're in flow and just focused on what you're doing, and then you get a text message and you're going, what now? Or maybe that's just me, possibly, but interruptions, big or small, are part of daily life. They keep happening. And if you're trying to create a system that doesn't make space for interruptions, a system that doesn't recognize that life is infinitely uncontrollable, then your system is going to fail the second you try and put it into practice, right? I don't think you can control your way out of that. The answer is not plan tighter, be more controlling, be even stricter, give yourself even more at all times so that nothing ever fails. Complete your entire massive long big to-do list every day and then repopulate it the next day. Because, well, that's a fast track to burnout. There's a lot of things that are fast tracks to burnout. Instead, I think that you need to build a resilient system. And a resilient system is one that bends when it needs to. It's one that has enough flexibility built in to go, okay, not this right now, but maybe this instead. It's about thinking, how can I keep moving when life is inevitably going to interrupt me regardless of what I do to try and mitigate any risk factors? anything that I think I have foreseen, any adaptations I've put in place just because what if happens, right? You still need to have flexibility around them. You can absolutely come up with a plan B in case plan A doesn't pan out, right? And I think that is a very good thing to do. But just, maybe hold the plans with a slightly lighter touch. If life is going to insist on interrupting you at the most inconvenient time and in the most inconvenient way possible, then the answer cannot be, but what if I just control everything a bit better? The answer, it has to be, how can I build a way of living that adapts to the flow of what's happening around me? And so I'm sitting here today with my foot up on a little stool, and there are a lot of things I could and should be doing today. Today is the first day in a month where my life has space in it for anything that I might want or might need to be doing. Elin is with her dad. Alice is in school. I am not at Aldi. I am here. I'm working for myself. I have a day with space. On top of that, I have a day with capacity. I have a high energy day today. I feel amazing. Honestly, those trampolines, I don't know what they bounced into me, but it was something. Having a good time with my family, it just really reinvigorated me and I feel fantastic. Today I could be tackling things that I normally find hard to tackle or things that I find boring. And so I could ask myself, should I be cleaning the flat today? Yeah, I probably should. On a sprained ankle? How long do you want it to take before this ankle heals? Alright, so cleaning the flat, that's not happening today. Should I record a podcast episode today? Yeah, sure, why not? On a sprained ankle? Well, I don't need to stand up to do this. Probably a good idea to sit still in my armchair with my foot up and record a podcast today with my sprained ankle. Highly likely one of the best things I could be doing for myself right now, because I am trapped by this camera right here, It's a static camera, I cannot move. This is a really good idea for today. Should I do something about the fact that my laundry basket is quite frankly overflowing at the moment? And does it make me a failure as a person that my laundry basket is overflowing at the moment? The first question is a practical question. And on paper, the answer is very simple. Yeah, I should do something about that. The second question is about identity. It is about what I allow the laundry basket to say about me as a person, as a woman. What do I make the laundry basket mean? And I could make it mean any number of awful things, if I so choose. I could be telling myself that a sprained ankle doesn't matter because the laundry should already have been done, somehow magically, during an Aldi shift. Perhaps I should have stayed home to do laundry instead of going out to have fun with my partner and our children, right? I could be telling me these stories. And this is where a lot of the nervous system friendly planning work lies. It lies in the identity. It lies in the stories we allow ourselves to say about ourselves, the identity that we put on something we're doing or not doing. That's where the work really is. If I can't talk kindly to myself when life derails, then I will have this urge to try and control everything. Even though I know for a fact that I can't control everything, but I will still keep trying, and then when things prove to be uncontrollable, I will make that mean something about myself. That I'm a bad person, that I fail, that I can't do this. And it drains my energy to be in that mindset. It brings me down, it brings on depression, it brings on burnout. This whole idea of if I was really a better woman. I have spent a long time working on this perfectionist mindset. I call myself a recovering perfectionist. I'm not perfect at it. See what I did there? But I'm working really hard at allowing my imperfections, at loving my imperfections, at being kind to myself about them, even praising myself for them. That control over everything is not what I want. Because if I grip everything so tightly, it's going to hurt. And we all know, really, deep down we know, even if we don't act like it, that tight grip of things, it just means they slide out of our hands quicker. It doesn't help us in any way. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about our free mini course, The Burnout Reset. I have burnt out twice, and I'm not talking about I don't feel excited about this anymore, I must be a bit burnt out, that you so often hear about on social media. No, I'm talking about not being able to feel excitement about anything. extreme anxiety and failing at even simple tasks. Despite being a highly capable woman, I just couldn't cope with anything. If any of that sounds familiar, the Burnout Reset is for you. You see, I learned a lot from my experience. The warning signs of burnout, the symptoms, but more importantly, how to actually heal and come back to yourself afterwards. In the Burnout Reset, you will learn what burnout looks like and what your personal energy thieves are. And you will get a list of small, doable steps to get some energy back that I promise you actually do help. This is how I managed to be a single mom with a medically complex child, work full-time, run 2 online brands, and feel energized instead of overwhelmed. Sign up to the Burnout Reset for free on subscribepage.io/4ATWME, or better yet, just click or copy the link in the description. As a bonus, you will also be signed up to our email list for more connection and support. Oh, good grief. Talk about interruptions. My phone just rang in the middle of me recording. At least the phone call was to tell me that a problem that I have been wrestling with for weeks, for fuck's sake. Siren. When I say that interruptions are inevitable and they're part of daily life, some of them are really small ones like these, and some of them are really big ones that we have no control over and that will genuinely impact life for many, many days. But yes, this phone call that just happened that interrupted me was to let me know that a big problem that I have been wrestling with for several weeks is finally solved. And I'm finding it a lot easier to pivot from that phone call back into this episode. If the phone call had been, no, sorry, I failed to fix it, the problem is still there, you're still on step 1 and you have so much to do, I would have given this recording up and I would have deleted the footage, because that one would have been too big for me to bounce back from and come back to this episode with the energy that I started it off with. But I think this highlights that the interruptions themselves are not the problem. They're a problem, but they're not the problem. The problem is what we make the interruption mean. As I just highlighted, if this phone call had been bad news, that interruption would have meant the end of this podcast episode, a loss of several hours of work done this morning. It's an emotionally charged situation to do with getting adequate care for my daughter. It's really affecting me personally and it's really affecting my energy, right? But being interrupted with a phone call that was good news was merely a slight annoyance. And it could have been a similar thing with my ankle. I could have allowed myself to think, oh, well, now I can't look after my daughter. Oh, now I can't do my job. Oh, no, I can't do this. Oh, no, I have to sit still. Oh, I'm such a failure. Oh, I should have prepared everything before so that when a sprained ankle happened, it wouldn't impact my life. Or I could choose to see the absurdity in the situation of I survived trampolines and roller skates, only for life to get me as I stood up from a chair. And then ask myself the question, what has to be true in my life, in my work, in my planning system, so that one stupid chair-based incident doesn't destroy the whole week? Well, what has to be true is to feel within myself that when interruptions happen, they do not equal personal failure. Women often carry this belief without saying it out loud, that interruptions are somehow their responsibility, and by extension, their fault. School rings to say your child is sick. Your partner is having a crisis. Your boss just changed the timeline on something, or the bloody boiler broke. And now your brain has jumped straight into panic mode. A sense of, not now. I don't have time for this. Oh my God, this is all on me. I have to fix it, and I have to fix it now, because everything is of equal urgency, of equal priority. You have this, as I've mentioned before, this flat hierarchy in your to-do list, that everything is equally important and equally urgent and has to be done all at once and preferably perfectly, right? This panic state is not good for you. Instead, an interruption could happen and you could be in the process of training your brain to go, oh, look, life happened. All right, now what? Because it gives you a pause, and in that pause, you create the space you need in order to be able to meet the things on your plate without getting overwhelmed by them. I truly believe that part of the process of getting there is to remembering yourself when you plan for things. If you remember the episode, planning is not the problem, you are not in the plan, I spoke about this, that it's so easy to fill your planner with responsibilities, but forget that somewhere in all of that, you're actually responsible for yourself. I burnt out after I had left my husband and been made redundant, because those were the two identities that I built my entire life around. They were taken away from me and I had nothing left, because in my plan, there was no container marked tova. And I'm not talking about having a pink highlighter session in your calendar or journal with your name on top of it, right? Because this is much more of a mental container. You know, the container marked you sits in your mind. Are you, your needs, your wants, your desires, are they being given any sort of space in your life? Are you one of the top priority people in your mind when you think about life? I'm sitting here recording. If I get a phone call that tells me there's a crisis to do with one of my children, I'm jumping to it, or, possibly limping to it. My daughters are my priority. But if that doesn't happen, then I am my priority. And this is what gives me the permission to say, today my ankle needs me to rest. Today I need to record. And I did not have record a podcast episode on my to-do list for today, set several days in advance. I opened up my planner this morning and went, right, what do I have capacity for today? What feels right? What are my restrictions? Capacity, big. Energy, big. Restrictions, foot. Cool. What can I do with all of this energy and all of this capacity that still allows me to rest my foot? I can record a podcast episode. Okay, let's do that. And ignore the laundry for another day or two. I'm talking about a better way of relating to yourself when life inevitably refuses to follow the plan. I know I can't control everything. I know that I can anticipate and that I can plan based on what I anticipate to happen. But I also know that life is still going to throw curveballs my way, no matter how well I anticipate. You have heard me talking about my daughter's surgery in a lot of episodes, right? And I'm pretty sure that I have said that I anticipated that she would be 1 week in intensive care, 1 week on the main ward, and then coming home. And so for work, not my work, but employed work, I took 2 weeks off as annual leave and 1 week of working only school hours, so that after Elin came home, I could be full-time mum for Alice when out of school. What actually happened was that Elin was in intensive care for 16 days and in hospital a total of 25. Okay? Significantly longer than I anticipated, and I actually thought that I was going overboard with my thinking. When it was so obvious that Elin wasn't going to be home anywhere near when I needed to in order to be able to go back to my employed work, I went to the manager who does the rotas and I said, I have to work school hours next week. I was given a lot of grief for that. I was told that it was very difficult. I was told that school hours is the worst possible shift. And I thought to myself, that's tough shit, love. The old me would have been stressed out about it. The old me would have felt guilty. The old me would have beaten myself up saying, I should have anticipated this. I should have given myself more time. I should not be making another person's life difficult. I should be chasing my colleagues and see who can cover this shift and that shift, right? And I didn't. Because my responsibility in this situation was to communicate as clearly and as quickly as I could, reality as it was. Life interrupted, this is what happened. And I could do that without any guilt, without any anxiety, without any thinking that I'm a horrible person. Life doesn't go to plan. Interruptions happen and we have to pivot with them. We have to have enough space to adjust day to day and work within the constraints of our reality. And I'm not saying here that you should sit and wait passively for interruptions. I can't possibly do something because somebody might interrupt. I was expecting that phone call that interrupted me earlier. I still decided to hit record rather than sitting going, I can't start anything because I know I'm going to get interrupted. And this is because I know that I need to move forward and I need to make progress because that is what fulfills me. But I can also accept that interruptions are just a part of life and learn to roll with them. But perhaps not roll my second ankle in the process.
From ashes, dust, and crooked lines, I'll forge a fire.